Meeting. Who joined the meeting?
Somebody without just the phone, I bet.
Okay, well, maybe they're trying to join the meeting.
It was a head fake.
It was a head fake. Okay, so this class is all about you people. It's you people. It's all about you. So we're here. We want to hear all kinds of good stories, all kinds of visits that you paid to your factories and what you found out, and we want to see your progress in your work. And so who wants to start? Who wants to be courageous and go first? Nobody. Wow.
I'll go second.
You'll go second. Come on, Ron. You're first, Ron.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say after last. Okay.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, go, Carol. Go.
Okay. And I'll start by saying I haven't visited any places. Okay, so I've had a very busy few weeks. Sorry. I've been out of town, and then I've had 4 different sets of house guests. So I got some stuff done, but I haven't even touched my SketchUp at all. But I have contacted people on the phone, 4 different modular companies. And I've decided I'm not going to go modular. I'm going to do panels. So I have made a major decision anyway. But they were all the ones I talked to. They're very expensive, but yet very simplistic. Nobody wants to modify anything.
Yes.
And so yeah, I mean there were some really nice. Whoops, did I go away?
No, you're there.
Someone went away. Okay. So some of them look really nice, but I did talk to Bensonwood because they kind of do both ways. They do it all, the whole thing, or well, it's panelized. But the guy I talked to said their custom ones run about $400 and up per square foot, and I just can't. I can't do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be nice, and that of course doesn't count a lot. But so anyway. So I've eliminated. I spent a lot of time and ended up eliminating modular. But
Carol, just to jump in here a second.
Yeah.
I was at a symposium recently with a bunch of factories, and it was just for factories in the Northeast. And the person running the symposium, who covers the entire industry and even internationally, he said that the northeastern part of the United States is renowned for custom factories, modular factories that happily not only embrace custom, but sometimes they don't do anything but custom. They laugh about how they have these catalogs and these pattern books, but they never build out of them because everybody comes and says, I want this different thing. But at the same time, they said, as you get further south and further west, that goes away and people become more and more inflexible. So I'm just, by way of saying that what you run into is well observed. It's them, it's not you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in some respects, it was like, it's a lot of work, but it was worth it. I mean, because now I can narrow my focus, and I still really like the idea of modular, but it's just not going to be practical. Yeah. And as far as Benswood, the guy I talked to, Doug Reitmeyer, said he told me to look at the Unity series because it was more affordable, and they could modify it a little bit. So anyway, I'm in the process of looking at that. But they do ship. He said they have shipped panelized stuff down to Texas. It's about another $15,000 or $20,000. But I like their product. They're gorgeous stuff.
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah, but they're
yeah.
You have to ask if you can stick build for that much.
Okay.
Carol,
Yes.
Ron, I may have a source for you. I'm out in Utah right now, and there's a modular builder or manufacturer just south of Salt Lake City and Spanish Fork. And when I'm talking, I'll describe it. But supposedly they cover the whole West.
Okay.
California, just east to the to the Rockies. So they may do, you know, they may do Texas. So I'll give you, it's Irontown, one word.
Okay.
They're a high end, but they were pretty reasonable in the 150, 175 per square foot.
Yeah.
And I toured their factory. They're really, they look to me like a really quality manufacturer.
Right. Yeah.
It's Irontown in Spanish Fork.
I've heard of Irontown.
Irontown is
Yeah.
R-O-N.
Irontown.
Okay, great. Yeah, my main goal is a great building, efficient, nice looking. But right, it'd be nice if I could do it for the same cost as stick built. So, yeah.
They're definitely a modular high-end builder, but they're fairly reasonable. So.
Okay, that sounds more reasonable than anything I've found so far. So that's good. Good.
And
Yeah.
they are custom too. They'll do.
Right.
They
That's what I
have.
mean. Yeah.
They have standard. You know.
They always
you know,
have.
they have catalog, but they'll do completely 100% custom.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I did spend some time. I went down to our city planning department because our house is on the lot is on a slope, not our house. We have the sloping lot. There's some water at the bottom. Sometimes it's a dry creek. Mostly there's water there. So it's in a floodplain zone. And when we got the lot 5 years ago, I wanted to make sure they hadn't changed, and they had. So I got the new parameters for where you must build above this elevation line is. You have to build 2 feet above the 100 flood. So I got that parameters, and then I run into something else that's going to be a problem. The neighborhood association, not the city, neighborhood association wants all side entry garages. They've only made one exception in all the years they've been there. And I can't do that, but then the house gets very narrow. Anyway, I probably, so I have to do 2 plans, one with the side entry garage and one with the front entry garage, and see if I can talk to the neighborhood association architectural control committee. I have seen 2 photos online of people that have kind of invisible garages. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that. One is, it's just, you don't see the garage. It's just the way they designed the building. And one of the entire front facade, like siding and windows, just lifts up like a giant garage door. And the other one, they've just kind of have matched everything up to where you don't really see it until you get close. I mean, it doesn't look like a garage. I mean, it's more expensive, but it'd be much better than having all that extra concrete on the side. So have y'all ever seen anything as far as garages that don't look like garages? I mean, they're not really pretty anyway. Nope.
Don't they still need to have a hard, either asphalt or concrete apron that runs up to them?
Yes, but now they have those. I don't know, have you seen those kind of pavers, kind of diamond shape, and the grass comes up between them?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking as far as, you're right, avoiding that big apron of concrete in the front.
And does the facade move sideways, or does it move back up into the building?
What I've seen actually moves up just like a garage door. It's just one straight flat piece that pivots. It doesn't go into like 3 sections.
Right.
Giant slab. It just all lifts up. It just looks like the side of your house.
Yeah, those have been around for quite a while, actually. The big single. Somebody's been smart enough to decorate them.
Right, and it was done so well. I thought, wow, interesting. And the other one was, you could see the cutout, but again, they had lined up, I think it was Hardy Plank, they'd lined up the boards, they lined up perfectly on the side, and they had a normal looking house windows in it, as opposed to garage windows. And I have seen some that they almost roll back, or they open on the side. But they look like garages, the garage doors, but they just look prettier, I guess. But as far as hiding the garage, yeah. The other thing I thought of as far as the landscaping is it seems that the fake grass looks better now. Fake sod. You could just put a concrete asphalt down and cover it with fake sod. I don't know.
You mean like AstroTurf?
Right, but not AstroTurf. But you're right. I don't have you. Maybe it's more common down this area. They've got turf grass that looks, until you get down and touch it, it looks like grass. They got variations of color and a little bit of height.
And they put a little dirt down in between it, little fake dirt. I've seen the whole thing. Yeah, it is true. It's more convincing until you walk on it.
Right, but in this case, just be the car, right?
Yeah.
Or the anyway. Right. I like the pavers with the grass in between. Looks nice right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's the other thing. So I'm gonna have to end up, I think, doing 2 different house plans because I probably won't know. I mean, in order to approach the architectural control committee, I should probably have a beautiful, gorgeous, rendering of what the house would look like with the fake garage.
So Carol, if I understand, it's going to tighten the restrictions they're giving you are going to tighten the width of the house, correct?
Correct. Side entry garage have a good turn, about 30 feet, although 10 feet can be where the building line is, so I really only just 20 feet.
So have you thought of putting the garage underground?
It's a steep slope already, so
right.
I did think about that, but backing out would just be a nightmare.
Well,
backing out of the garage, yeah. There actually is someone down the street that I'm on, this creek runs the back of it, and someone did build down the street, and they did put a side entry garage down below. They park on the street. They park on the street. I mean, and I can see, I wouldn't go down that driveway. But yeah, they just park on the street. So they got this big empty garage. The other thing I thought of, which doesn't do any good, is 20 years from now, is ever still around 20 years from now, I bet people will be turning the garages into extra living space because we'll all be doing self-driving cars that come and pick you up, and no one will have a car anymore. But that doesn't do any good.
Okay.
Anyway, so I have the garage dilemma. I did get the new parameters from the city, so now I have the exact space I can put the house in, although the garage shifts it around. The other thing I thought of is I have seen some houses where the side entry garage is actually in front of the house. So the driveway, do you know what I'm talking about? So you have the house, and then you have the garage in front, and the driveway comes it comes straight toward your house and then turns into the garage.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, it pushes my house way far back, and I end up in the floodplain. So.
Okay.
I guess and the other thing I do is build a 3-story house. That would just look horrible, and I just don't want to do that. Yeah. And I did so. So I'm getting some more information from Bensonwood about the Unity homes, but I suspect they're going to be too pricey as well.
Well, it's only it's a 20-hour drive from Irontown to Austin. No, that's not bad.
Compared to compared to Northeast.
Yeah.
And probably more wide open. They probably have less restrictions. They're coming from the west.
I would imagine. Yeah, it comes through Albuquerque. I mean, if they were to go the most direct route.
Yeah.
But I just, while you were talking, I took a look at their website and reminded me, I was actually looking at them to do a job in Crested Butte a while back. I'd be interested in talking to them. How are you?
Yeah.
I think
that's a great option. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
Ron for that. Do you you have a 1-story house now or 2-story? Did you put the 2 stories?
No, I have the 2-story, but the main level is the first level, and the second one's right. Which I had a question about that as well. So I'm working on so I just kind of stopped working on it because I really need to get these parameters in place. I kind of jumped the gun on that. So, but the first level, the main level, is going to be probably 1,800, maybe 2,000, probably not that big. And the idea is that's our living space. I'd like to be able to close off the lower level completely unless we have company, so we're not heating and cooling it. And then the lower level, will have the wine cellar built into the hillside, and just extra space for company. So really, I only really need maybe 700 square feet down there. But my question is, I'm assuming that since the top level is above, it has to be supported from below, that extra space they put down there would be fairly inexpensive. I mean, even if it's just empty space that someone can modify later.
No, you're actually going where I was going. Your upper floor actually has more square footage than your lower floor.
Correct.
So one thing you could do would be to let it cantilever over and let that upper floor become not maybe a garage, but a carport, so that you park underneath it, and you have easy access to both levels. And
parking underneath it.
so if this is your first floor,
right,
and this is your second floor, you can park under here.
Yeah, that would be great, except for the steep slope.
That makes it even better.
Except for backing out. Except for backing out. And I can bet you, if they want side entry garages, they're not going to allow carports.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't call it a carport. It's just a patio underneath your second floor that you happen to leave your car in from time to time.
And you don't have to tell them that you're going to be leaving your car in there.
Yeah.
It becomes just a patio.
Maybe, but after, we're going to go around and talk to everybody, but maybe in the meantime, you could bring your SketchUp model up for later, and we could look at that, even if it's not something which your site would, or your homeowners association would permit.
Yeah.
It's worth looking at, and I think, it's a trick that Prefab offers. The cantilevered box.
Okay. Yeah. No, it would look pretty. I can bring it up right now. I have the site and the old model, which is hold on a second. Now this is
share your screen.
And then I have to go to. Then I have to shrink. I have to. Oh, look at there. It's right there. And then I do that.
There we go.
Oh, usually I have to do a few times. Okay, so this is from the side. Yeah, okay, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's the slope. It doesn't really drop off right there. That's just where the survey stops. Yeah, that looks like a little waterfall there, but it isn't. So this is, so I got it I put the model at, see, you can see the lower part of the first floor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is probably about where it's going to be. I don't want it to dip down too much. So, and this slab represents the garage floor.
I see why you can't do what I was talking about. And how wide is your site?
The site at the very front is 90 feet, and then it splays out some. Yeah.
So can you drive? Yeah, you could. So if that slab weren't there.
Over. As you can see, I have it too far to the left here because I just got it set it. I set it this way. I've not worked on it. Right. So that would be, if you're driving, it would be pretty level. But as far as getting down there.
Yeah, it's very steep, huh?
Yeah. And then, like I said, it is a pretty steep site. You have to realize my husband might be able to do it. I would just.
Okay.
It would be back blind. You wouldn't even be able to see anything in back of you. Anyway.
Well, no, I get it. I get it.
Big turntable and turns your car around and just.
They do have those.
They have those. They even have the ones where you can flip the car like the Green Hornet does now.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
Nope.
It came out.
Maybe in New York City, you drive in and the whole thing elevates you. It's an elevator, it lowers your car into the floor.
Yeah, that too. You can do that too.
I think those are about the last time I looked, they were like between 20 and 30,000 for just the gear. Then you still have to kind of pour the walls and stuff. It's an elevator for your car.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it would be. Yeah.
But I mean, you could handle driving straight in and then backing straight out, couldn't you?
That's still a front entry garage. It doesn't get rid of the neighborhood association's problem. Yeah.
Well, no, you would tell them it's just in addition to your wine cellar.
That's why you have to get those cases down there all at once.
Right. Yeah, no garages. Okay, well, that's That's
So,
harsh.
as I drew this, the lower floor is the same size as the upper floor because I thought, oh, I have to support it, but I don't really need it that big. But yeah. So yeah. So is empty space? So it's sort of like a basement, except it isn't a basement. I mean, yeah. I guess the walls are going to look finished. So if I only needed 700 square feet, but I made it 1,200 square feet, but I didn't add any more features. Do you know how much ballpark? I mean,
Well,
I think the foundation is going to be the foundation because that's going to be concrete. You're not going to be dropping mods into the dirt. So anything below grade will be some form of foundation system.
but the foundation has to be the size as the biggest floor, correct?
no, not necessarily.
Okay, so you were just talking like post and beam kind of thing.
You can cantilever because
Yeah.
you can cantilever everything. You get about general terms in cantilever. This is not engineering, but as a rule of thumb at this level of design, for every foot that's supported, you can go out, I think, a half a foot. So if you want to go out X, you have to have 2X back in the building. So if your building is 30 feet, I guess you could cut back 10 feet approximately.
Well, do you see this? Most of this lower floor is also projecting out here.
Yeah,
See
that's that.
Yeah.
So what would happen is,
So I assume there's going to be post things here.
yeah, but I'll tell you, Carol, as a general rule, when you cover that much space that you're not going to use, it tends to become undesirable space, tends to die. There's no, whatever lives down there is not what you want living down there. And, but it's still accessible enough so you're sort of tempted to go in there. And then what happens is people tend to gravitate towards, lattice work and other techniques for masking it. And
You got this empty space here, right?
yeah, it makes more sense to see if you can't evolve the design so that it responds more to the site. The site is sloping down to the water.
Right.
Having a building that slopes down to the water is a much better response to the site. So what that would mean is that inside you would have to search for places where you could get a few steps, maybe 1 step or 2 steps, which is very dramatic.
Yeah. No, it is. However,
yeah.
my husband he's 70 and I'm 68. We're just doing one level for the upper floor.
One level. Well, then the other thing you can do is knowing as I do that your home association won't allow garages. They called me up last night, and you could get rid of your concrete slab. You're gonna have to solve the garage a different way, but now you can sort of spread your house lengthwise along the contours, so it doesn't cantilever as much out over the slope. In other words, instead of going, what's the direction of the water? Is that south?
South. Right.
Yeah. Instead of extending south, extend the massing and the organization of your house east and west. That way it'll stay collected over less slope. And you can put in a reasonable foundation and still stay all on one level.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, but because of the side entry garage, I may not be able to expand it east and west very much.
You mean you can have a garage if it's a side entry?
Well, right now that's the neighborhood rule. I'm going to try and get a variance or exception, but.
Oh, I thought they said no garage. So you're allowed to have it if you can come in from the side?
Oh, no. I was joking about in the future. Maybe there'll be no garages. No.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I
think the future's coming soon.
Yeah, right now it's just on side entry garages. They don't know. They don't want to see the facade of the garage. And
Yeah.
I understand that. They're not pretty. So
Yeah.
that's trying to get around it by aesthetically making it look fine. I assume that's their objection
Right.
would be the aesthetics. Yeah.
Um,
But right,
well,
you're right. Then it gets more squished this way, and it's going to stick out even more.
right. So it looks like you have maybe a little room on the west side.
Yeah, no, this I haven't centered it east to west right. I just got it centered on the. I was trying to get the drive-in level or the
Yeah.
not too far. It's already. This is like 3 feet down from the curb.
Mm-hmm.
That would be enough.
But I mean, that's working for you because now your site is widening. So is there a site setback? Do you have to be 15 or 20 feet from your side boundary lines?
This line right here,
Mm-hmm.
that's the building line.
Right, but what about on the sides?
Oh, it's an odd one. It's 15 feet collectively, at least 5 on each side.
Perfect. So you've got quite a bit of space. It looks to me like you have 20 feet of latitude there that you could reorganize, particularly if you're going to.
Right. If I do the side entry garage, I'll have to shrink the house some. I've shrunk it some already. I'll shrink it even more. But if I can do a front entry garage, I can spread out more east-west and pull some of this mass.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess you're in a fork in the road. If you can get some sense of whether you're going to get a variance, that would be the first step. And then in the meantime, you could assume that you're not going to get a variance and see how you could change the design to collect it more, bring it back a little bit, flatten it out, even though you know you're going to have a garage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of house for that site. The other thing you can do is.
Yeah, no, I need to. I keep walking around my house and measuring rooms, and it's hard for me to visualize how big a room should be on paper.
Yep.
Being in the space. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah.
These.
I guess anything I could do.
I mean, you could start. I know it seems like a painful thing to go backwards, but you could start by just saying, okay, all my mods are going to have to be 14-foot mods.
Yeah. Except if I'm doing panelized, then I don't even have to. Yeah.
That's true. I'm trying to constrain you. I'm not trying to give you more freedom. So you're right. With panel, you're moving with every step towards stick building. You have more flexibility, and panel is a big step towards flexibility. You're already in Texas, so you have 16-foot modules down there. That even 20-foot modules in some locations.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course you can't change them.
Well, I'll see what Ironwood has, but so anyways, that's right. I'm stuck on this garage stuff, and then
yeah, that's a
yeah. And then I got sidetracked. I started researching heat pumps and stuff, and which is way too early to be looking at that stuff, but it was so fascinating. So it might have been. It was either in the last set of slides. I was reading about heat pump hot water heaters.
Sure, GE makes them.
It's like, whoa. So is there such a thing as the heat pump and the hot water heater all being one system or one? In other words, hot water heater is very expensive. But I didn't know if there's a way, if you had heat pump for everything, whether there's a big combination thing.
No, I don't. I haven't seen it. Gio, have you seen a combination hot water and HVAC that's all run by one heat pump?
I've asked about that, and they don't exist yet.
They're not, yeah. Because here in Texas, I can pull heat out of the air from my air conditioning, send it right over to the hot water tank. Ta-da!
Well, yeah.
So not yet. Okay.
Not yet. Although it is true that people will use both. I mean, they'll have a
Yeah.
heat pump with mini splits, and then they'll have a, and there's,
Well,
you're in a good climate for heating your water with a heat pump.
Right. It said the heat pump hot water heater dumps out cool, dehumidified air. It's like perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
for like 3/4 of the year, or yeah.
pretty much. I mean, it's
Carol, how
good.
much more expensive were you finding it? Because I was sort of, what I saw was, maybe 25% more expensive than a gas hot
Well,
water.
look, it said $2,500.
I've seen them for 18, but 25 is not out of line.
Okay, so it just sounded like a lot for. I'm just used to the old 50-gallon tank.
For what size water heater is that?
Well, I think that was 50-gallon, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. The other thing is, of course, gas is much cheaper here, but it said the gas hot water heater, the gas heat pump hot water heater would give you 12 to 20 gallons of hot water per hour, which seems low to me. 12 gallons versus the instant, because that's the other thing I'm looking at is the instant on the tankless. So I don't know which one. And then plus gas is cheaper, but I'm assuming if I'm doing solar, I need to have electrical appliances, right? I mean,
Helps, yeah. It's very hard to run a gas appliance with solar collectors.
so I should just kind of eliminate the gas thing from my head and just look at electrical. Yeah. I hear gas is going to go up in a few years anyway, and it's not good for the environment. So.
That's right. You're correct. Oh man, you're saying all the right things.
Yeah. Right. So I guess I'm stuck between the tankless versus the electric heat pump as far as the water heater. Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, that was sidetrack. I shouldn't have even been looking at that.
Well, that's good that you've done that. That's a leg up.
So anyway, so that's where I am. I had hoped I would accomplish more, but I didn't. But
I have
really,
one more question for your site garage problem. It
Sure.
looks to me like you've embraced at least one full set of stairs.
yes, and I probably don't remember, but here's my stairs.
Right.
But because of the wine
Is that
cellar,
an elevator there?
yeah, because of the wine cellar, a case of wine's 40 pounds.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll be getting older, but mainly
Sure. Yep.
cases of wine, yeah. So I just had the stairs wrapped around the. That's
Well, no, I like that. That's great. I'm just.
But I don't know whether to put it in the back. I don't know. That was the other spot, was to kind of put it back here.
No. The question that I had I'm still struggling with your garage, I'm thinking, how imperative is it to be at the highest point on your site in terms of view? And in other words, could you slide down the hill a bit?
Sure. Sure.
So or maybe you don't slide down the hill, but another thing to consider is to make the house upside down. Put all the living spaces that are above, put them below, and walk down to them. That way you could actually have a side entry garage on top.
And the bigger space would be downstairs.
Yes. The downside of that strategy is that you would lose north-facing windows in your spaces.
Yeah.
The upside is that your air conditioning bill would be way lower. All your bills would be lower. Seriously, because it would essentially be an earth-sheltered or earth-bermed residence with a strong. It doesn't mean you would have no north-facing windows. It means they'd be much smaller and fewer.
No, I think there'd be no. If you look at this, I think. Well, maybe a clear story.
That's what I mean, clear story. And also there's light tubes and other contrivances for getting sunlight in. But the real payoff would be that you would have so much less building up on top that you could actually park and even probably have a side entry garage up there.
Yeah.
And then walk down. You would have to rearrange your your zoning, but you could actually, enter and then walk down to certain functions.
The view is going to be obviously better up here than down here. I guess
That's true. It might be that you want to keep a viewing deck up on top.
we could
Or,
have a patio deck up on top.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of really very satisfying and sophisticated designs that go on to steep sites in just that fashion. They make the most of the they really separate into where you want to have something that's going to need a really great view. You put that on top, but something like a bedroom, you can put that down below. So and for that matter,
that's why this design. That's why I've got the extra space down below to start with. But yeah,
right. But that whole master bedroom.
That's a thought. I could just move all that downstairs, and then I would have more. Yeah. But like I said, I was just trying to get away from having to take the elevator every day. Yeah. I mean, practically speaking, it's nice just to live on one level.
Well, I know, but you have a challenging lot for living on one level.
Right. I'm still trying to have it all, so to speak. Because ideally, like I said, it'd be nice to just close off the lower level, have some kind of doorway or something that actually closes off the stairwell down below to where we're just heating and cooling the top floor.
Well, that's true, although that's a little bit like you're thinking about soon we won't have garages because we'll be using, not soon, but today, right now, you can have a building that's so well insulated and properly detailed that you don't really save much by closing part of it off. You just build it right the first time.
Yeah, I actually wondered about that, if that would be that. I figured the elevator's going to leak some anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a very instructional project that you've taken on because it demands design. It demands problem solving. It's not just a subdivision lot where you can.
Yeah, I should have realized at the beginning. The modular ones I've been looking at, there isn't any way to modify them. Like, well, I need an elevator. It just isn't going to work.
Yeah, right. You don't have to wait till next class if you want to email myself or Gio about your phone call to Irontown. See what they say.
So you want to be on the phone when I call them?
Sorry?
Or call them first.
So call them first. I'm going to call them anyway, but I think you should call them as well and just say, I'm in Texas where all the prefab people don't do custom building, and I understand you do. And just see what they say.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah,
Right.
I'll let you know. All right.
Great.
Okay. That's it. Okay, I'm done.
All right, who's next? Come on, step up.
Anybody who doesn't have a side entry garage can go now.
All
All right, I'll go.
right, Mark.
So I did visit a couple of builders last week. I went first to Bensonwood. Very impressive what they do. I particularly like their smart panel system. And although I don't at all see using them, it's possible that I would like to, with whatever means I ended up using, emulate a lot of their smart panel ideas. The visit was disappointing in that I made an appointment. I made it clear that I wanted to be able to see their operations and how they built things. And when I got there, I was informed that their manufacturing was 8 miles away, and even if I wanted to drive 8 miles, that they were having an OSHA inspection that day, and so I couldn't see it. So basically, I drove 3 hours to sit in a conference room and look at a computer. So that was, I have to say, I was pretty annoyed. But it was interesting. From there, I went to Vermont, which is, I think what they do is wonderful. I think as a modular builder, besides their ZEM program, they're capable of very cost-effective modular building to a reasonable quality level. the house that I ultimately want, and I should, comment that I don't have a site yet. So, I'm kind of, in my drawings that I will show you don't really represent the house that I ultimately want. They're kind of an exercise in a prefab panel, what I could do. And also that as you know, Gio, I've had a lot of trouble getting over the hump with SketchUp. So, I use this as a means to get over the hump, which I think I'm kind of over the hump there. But I like Vermont a lot, and I would highly recommend it. It does, I want a house that is environmentally friendly as possible. I want to be as close to passive as I reasonably can. I want to emulate as many LEEDs principles as I can. So the concept of shipping 4 boxes over a couple hundred miles is not real desirable to me. It may be the only way to do it, but in the end it might be the right choice, but it bothers me to do that. Not to mention the cost. I mean, each box, from Vermont would cost about $3,500 transport. So if you have a 4-box house, that's $14,000. It's a lot. But anyway, I am high on Vermont. I think they're a great organization in many respects. I went to the Better Building by Design conference, which was wonderful. Many great workshops that also enabled me to, visit heat pump people and SIP panel people and 475. I spent a lot of time with them going over their different wall systems. I spent some time with PBS at the show. So that was a nice way to get a lot of exposure to manufacturers and vendors in one place. Where do I go from here, Gio?
Let me ask if I can. You had a nice talk with PBS, but not enough to think about going and seeing their assembly.
I've been to them. I visited them 3 years ago. I visited them. I visited Huntington Homes in the last 3 years. 15 years ago, I visited probably 8 different modular builders in the Pennsylvania area. So I have a pretty good overview of what modular builders do and the different levels of them. Aside from Vermont, who, they kind of build them one at a time, but, most of the modular builders, including PBS, are on a production line. I mean, one box follows another one, and that doesn't, it's difficult for them to put a lot more time into one box than another one. And that's really the case when they're building modular. So I forget the name of the guy. I think he's related, his son or something like that. And he said that they had improved their passive wall system from when I visited them a couple of years ago. But a couple of years ago, a passive house was a good 50% more than their standard high performance home. Mm-hmm. It was all because it was the combination of an extremely complicated wall system that nobody else was using, and the fact that the passive houses the boxes were going to take a lot more time than their standard boxes, and it created a production glitch.
Interesting. So, but now they feel like they've if not resolved that problem, they feel like they've improved the glitch.
They feel they've improved the glitch. And when I mentioned that, it came to 50% more, he wasn't able to give me a percentage more on the spot, but he said that it's better than that now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that goes with the fact that PBS and Vermont and Huntington Homes and all these Northeastern mod builders, they do custom. In fact, they do more custom than they do stock plans. And so as a result, they are hard pressed when you go to one extreme or the other of what they've got to give you, really prices that are based on a lot of statistics, because each house has got enough different to throw it outside the sort of the mean. But that's interesting. Gio and I just recently were at PBS, and we noticed the same thing, that they had streamlined their wall assemblies without sacrificing the performance. Seemed like a good thing. They have enough room for that. I'm wondering if that's not just an excuse, that it is an assembly line. It's true, and you can't stop a box on an assembly line and not pay a huge price. But they have enough room in their factory to pull a box off the assembly line laterally, and then reintroduce it later. So that might have just been a little bit of sales talk there.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be the case with I mean, you're right. Vermont is a one at a time, and I would opine on Huntington Homes, except for I know that they're busy something like 8 months out. So why
Is that
bother?
right? Wow.
Yeah, they're not really fun to talk to, because they're saying, well, whatever, it's
Yeah.
going to be almost a year away. So
Well, I mean, Huntington Homes, when I visited them, they seemed like, good standard homes, and they are certainly, both PBS and Huntington Homes are willing to, as long as you're going with kind of their standard wall, floor, ceiling, et cetera systems, they'll do a very custom home, whatever you want. I thought Huntington Homes finish quality was, a couple of steps below PBS.
Oh, interesting. That's fair. I'm surprised to hear that. Huntington Homes is the reason they're so hard to get onto their dance card, is because they're doing a lot of work out on Nantucket and the Cape and Islands.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah. Yes. So they're capable of good detailing. I've tried for years to build with them, and I've never been able to.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they also build. I mean, all of these factories build a certain amount of high-end homes that are custom and beautifully detailed, and then they pay the bills with pretty stock stuff that they extrude through. So it's interesting.
I never talked to, at the time that I visited Huntington Homes, had never heard of a passive home, let alone or a net zero home. So I don't know what they might be willing to do as far as that. Have they built any are they building a high performance home? Or they?
Oh my God! You mean Huntington Homes?
Huntington.
Yeah, no. I think they do that on a case by case basis. That's not really their company's culture.
Right.
They are a long-standing, successful family business that makes good, solid New England homes that are not exceptional in performance.
Okay.
So, good value if you can get in there on their dance card.
Do you want to show us your model? Show us how far you've gotten. That'd be good. Because I don't think John has seen it.
Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. So this was, this was a exercise in kind of going minimal in terms of what would work for me. I mean, some of the things that I wanted in a house, I definitely wanted a first floor master bedroom suite. So this is a single story building, and it was it was it's about a 1,400 square foot house that I think is the walls, floors, ceilings, and so on would come close to meeting passive house standards. It's a truss roof. I envision a cellulose ceiling, And I'd like to. I'm impressed. I'd like to follow Leeds principles in terms of minimal site alteration. So I like the idea of the pier auger systems that Vermont is starting to use, and other builders like EchoCore and so on. Seems very cost effective. So that's that. From the outside, I did geolocate this, and you can see from the awnings that this is summer. Why is this not working? Oh, there it is working. There's winter, pretty close to full exposure to this. You're looking at the south side.
Mm-hmm.
And then this would be
How about summer? Give summer again. I miss summer. I always miss summer.
Hmm. Yeah.
okay. There's July. Why is this not? Oh, that's because it's that's 12 noon,
Okay, that works.
and it's the windows are completely shaded.
They are?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't tell, but they are.
Okay.
There's
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I see.
okay.
Yep.
Let me. Two bedroom, two bath. This is the mechanical room here. Entrance foyer, kitchen, dining room, living area, second bedroom, second bath.
Laundry?
Hopefully be part of the mechanical room.
And the mechanical room is next to the bathroom over here?
I can't hear you, Gio. What?
The mechanical room is next to the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a no-no?
No. How big is the mechanical room?
It's about 7 by 6.
That's
Yeah,
pretty tight.
You don't want your laundry in there.
No, it's pretty tight.
You know that your second bathroom or your master bathroom, the one with to the right,
Yep.
that's a very commodious, and you have room there to have the toilet plus probably even a side by side there.
Yeah.
But certainly a stackable, and you'll be a happier guy
Yeah.
taking your laundry out into a bathroom than you will into and piling it up on a water heater.
Mm-hmm.
Because the utility room you have is just big enough for that serve too, if you're going to use a serve.
Right. I like this, like the serve. I'd like this to be a net zero all electric house.
Right.
Induction stove.
Right.
Heat pump, hot water heater, et cetera, et cetera.
And as I'm just trying to say is that space is just big enough for the serve and maybe a hot water tank and one other very small thing, and that's it. You won't be able to fit much else in there.
Okay.
So you might want to, make that slightly bigger if you're thinking of other things. I agree with John. I would not put it in put your laundry room in the utility room. You got more than enough room in the master bath to rejig that so that you could fit it in there and it'll look pretty cool.
Okay.
So, Mark, was there any interest in capturing any of that space upstairs? You've got a wonderful proportions and a nice big roof but it's all trusses.
Yeah. I mean, again, this was, this is not really the house that I want. This was,
Right, I see.
this is the exercise. I think in reality, I would do exactly what you're indicating of, putting in the truss systems, have an insulated roof, and have 2 bedrooms up upstairs and 1 bedroom down.
Well, I want to applaud you for for first mastering SketchUp enough to be fully tempted to making those additional design changes, but not doing that, and instead saying, okay, this is just a trial building, and the fact that it's not everything you need is really fine for the purpose of this course. This is a great design for shopping different systems. It's a fully adequate, and yeah, we could all spend another 6 weeks tuning it up, but first you have to find a site.
I mean, I think that, from here I would start from scratch with what I really want, but I first really need to have the site, and
right.
Yeah.
But it was helpful for me to have a simple house to, like I said, to get over the hump with the help of Geo with SketchUp.
Great.
What else would you like to see in this? I did just before the class. I did some sections of.
Aren't they fun?
Okay. Well. Yeah, there's a lot of space in that roof.
A lot of space, yeah. I could easily put, a couple of. I mean, I think the 8-foot point is probably about here, so you could have some pretty good space up there.
Sure, great.
I just started to do this, so I'm not.
So you weren't able to show this to PBS or Vermont, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Be interesting for you to do that. Just as far as the conversation goes and the sort of systems feedback that you would get from them.
Yeah. Well, there's a another thing going on here in that NYSERDA in concert with VEIC want to place a ZEM manufacturer in basically my area.
Wow.
And in fact, along with a contractor friend of mine, we're in discussions with Peter to actually start that manufacturing.
Nice. That'll be exciting. I like to track that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
We all want to have a Z factory in our neighborhood.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Timing seems to be kind of perfect in that they're just concluding, the VEIC is concluding a contract with NYSERDA for this program. So, and Peter seems to be pretty high on it. So, of course, a zillion things that could derail it, but it's something that could happen.
Oh, nice. God, we'll look forward to hearing more about that as it becomes available. Yeah, that's great. What have you thought of in terms of this is going to be a passive house, so you haven't thought too much. It's all electric, no real HVAC system beyond that, just maybe the serve.
Right.
That'll do it. Great, and it's on a full foundation or crawl space.
Well, I'm thinking of like Vermont is I don't know if they've actually done it or just considered it. I know also EchoCore in Maine does it, but they put the whole thing on auger-driven piers.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on that, John?
You know, I only spent 37 years in the snow belt before I had to come down to the shore here. And I never was able to find a house that had a elevated floor assembly that I felt comfortable in. I think you can definitely skirt it and make it meet numbers that that you calculate out, but invariably the skirt has to come down to the surface of the ground, and the surface of the ground is the world of so much wildlife and so many unpredictable things. Never mind the water, but that could be even as something as random as a lawnmower that gets hit against it. And unless that skirt is almost as substantial as a foundation stem wall, in time it'll need maintenance. Now, there's nothing wrong with maintenance. That's fine. It's what we've grown to be accustomed to. So if you're accustomed to a foundation wall being sort of this sturdy interface between your home and the earth, to put something that needs maintenance, like a roof needs maintenance. We don't mind that maintenance. We re-roof it every 30 years. I would assume that if you put a house on pylons and then rely on a skirt for thermal insulation.
Well, I don't know that you necessarily. I mean, I don't see why you need to rely on a skirt for thermal insulation if you're, I mean, here I have a 26-inch. Well, it's at least that. Yeah, 26-inch, cellulose filled floor system. So be approaching like R90. So why do you need your skirt to be a thermal barrier?
Maybe you don't. You just, even as an aesthetic barrier.
Well, I can see an aesthetic barrier, but then the requirements are less.
No more. Aesthetics are much more difficult to maintain than just thermal continuity. You want it to look good.
I see Gio nodding his head in agreement there.
Well, you don't see me passing dollar bills under the tables.
No, right. No, just now that you've mentioned this, I know when we were talking, you're saying that you've got like an R100 or underneath there, but and it's just hit me now. So that's how slow I am. If you're going to make a floor that thick, and you're going to fill it with insulation, and then you're going to set this thing on pylons, and how far off the ground are these things going to be set on pylons? What are you envisioning?
Well, I envisioned that depending upon the slope, that you'd have one corner or whatever that was relatively close to the ground, and then the every other part would be as high as it needed to be. Okay.
So all right. So I'm going to be devil's advocate here and be a typical Canadian Italian. Where's the water coming in here? Is it coming in through the sidewall, or is it coming in underneath the floor?
Well, I see that it could come in either at the very edge of the house,
under the floor,
underneath, but it could it could be very close to the edge of the house, so that I do envision that you do not want to need to crawl around underneath this house in order to connect.
That's my first point, number one. Yeah. Number two, you're going to be draining. You're going to have black and gray water coming out of your house. Where's that coming? Where's that going? Like where's the pipe here? Where am I? Is this again? Is it going through?
Couldn't that be within the 26 inches? That's a lot of space. So in height, you could, especially if you kind of, with this particular, let me see here.
Well, the solution to that is, has been explored before. This wouldn't be the first elevated super insulated house, what usually is done is there's a hot box somewhere underneath the house that's the water comes up and the drainage comes down, and that box has to go down to below frost before the pipes can go laterally.
Okay.
So if you had a well, you would have to bring your pipe in below frost to that hot box, and certainly your drainage then would go down through that hot box to a depth of at least 3, probably 4 feet before it starts going off, which does have the black water is not nearly so difficult as the gray water because it tends to have its own heat.
Right.
But the gray water doesn't, and they commingle, and so a lot of people will risk it. But having repaired frozen waistline pipes personally, I don't risk it anymore.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, you don't need something to be avoided.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't want to be a wet blanket here. You could definitely do this, and I think the numbers will work out fine in terms of all the data points and the calculations, one thing or another. If I would make any suggestion, it would be that I would explore the possibility of making the subfloor a SIP, because we're not really talking about are you going to lose too much heat through the floor? You're not going to lose too much heat through the floor. Will the floor become cool? Probably not, although it will certainly not enjoy any thermal radiation whatsoever. Not that thermal radiation would warm up through R100, but I guess the thing is that when your foot goes down on the floor, particularly of any tiled section, you'd like it to be insulated so well that just the heat from your foot gives you the sensation that it's a warm floor. And that's...
I agree that that's desirable. If it seems to me, if you're going this route, or if I were to go this route, that the what you're saving in a foundation allows you to, it could be a 36-inch floor system.
It could also be radiant electric.
Well, radiant electric would kind of defeat some of the purpose. I mean, also it seems to me like it would overpower the house.
Right. It totally would. Well, I think that the issue would probably be most aggravated in bathrooms and places where you had hard tile type floors.
Yeah.
The wood probably could be kept warm.
Again, this is sort of an effort at a minimalist passive house that's, trying to be as site non-invasive as possible. And then I'm fully prepared to back off from there. I mean, it's, I was, when Peter initially talked about piers for their ZEM modules, I thought, well, that's interesting and probably good for the, trailer parks and so on, but not something that I wanted. When I saw that EcoCore in Maine was doing it, and they build a very high-end house, they're expensive. They build in the Hamptons and so on. So that made me think that, well, maybe this is a more medium-end viable option.
Ultimately, I think it's going to depend on the site that you decide to build on. Some sites are going to accommodate that sort of a foundation very nicely, and then some sites you're going to just do better to just bite the bullet.
I mean, I'm not at all married to that idea.
Yeah.
The only other point I was trying to make is that when you're doing this, if you're going to do this, the hot box you're talking about, you'd have to arrange your bathrooms and your kitchen so that there's not that much, the drainage doesn't have to travel that far, because there's a slope to the pipes as they're traveling to bring them to us.
What is the slope that's required for that?
I think it's a 1/4 inch for every foot.
It's somewhere between an eighth and a quarter.
Sorry, eighth and
If
a
you,
quarter inches.
yeah, if you go more than a quarter, the liquids will outrun the solids.
Yeah.
If you go less than an eighth, even worse things happen.
Use your imagination.
Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right.
But you know, I'm sorry. No way was I trying to dissuade you to try something new. But just keep in mind, you know, there are these practicalities that you have to think about. I mean,
Yeah. I have more solidly come to the conclusion that I do not want a basement. You know, I personally, I mean, when I've done the numbers on it, I think the whole idea that it's free space is incorrect. It's
No
not.
one said free. I said cheap.
cheap.
I don't know that it's even cheap. You know, and other people that I've talked to have been supportive of that. You know, it's anyway. I mean, besides that, I mean, I don't like doing stuff underground. You know, I mean, you know, so I'd rather put the space above ground. There's radon and, you know, all those other issues too. Although I guess if you're doing a super insulated house with a serve, that's not maybe something you need to worry about. But regardless, I think, you know, a basement is something I've pretty firmly come to the conclusion that I would not use. But I am open to the idea of a, you know, what do you call it? A frost, you know, below frost line foundation that's a little bit more conventional.
Yeah, there's a lot of things besides the basement you can do, and I think the corkscrew pylons is certainly one of them, especially in this case. So,
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was assuming I was actually going to build my house on piers because how much it's projecting out. I guess maybe because I'm in the South, we don't think about building above the frost line, things like that. So I was already, I like the auger-driven piers as well. I didn't realize that you didn't think about the aesthetics. I hadn't thought about the aesthetics of how it's going to look. So I'll have to see what other people do as far as aesthetics.
Yeah, that's the right approach. Go and look at a bunch of them. Look at them on slopes that are similar to the ones that you're on. And you've got a very aggressive slope condition. And I think you're right. You're going to have some sort of pier, column, or posting system. And the trick is, you know, to not produce a whole lot of dead, you know, space underneath the building that you then have the problem of hiding. And there's lots of strategies for doing it. But the best strategy is to minimize the amount of stuff you have to do. But you're going to have some for sure.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's funny, and a lot of it, you can get a sense of it with the SketchUp sunlight feature that Ron used, that Mark used, because what you're really trying to do is figure out what will it be like underneath my house when I'm out there. So in Texas, that's probably the shoulder seasons, right?
Shade your house with shade.
Yeah. I mean, in Texas, shade is valuable. You like shade.
Very valuable.
You may actually landscape that space under there, and that's where you will go to sit.
No, I was just thinking there could be like a deck under there or patio or something.
But at some point,
giant screen porch.
at some point, the slope is going to go to zero.
Okay.
You know, there's down here where you can live underneath your house and enjoy the shade, but then eventually it goes up and it goes to zero. So you have to cut that part off, and you know, it's I've seen it done beautifully, but it's I've also seen people discover that is the condition that they have made after the fact and think, oh, I wish I'd known.
Yeah, well, I hadn't thought about that.
One thing I don't know, John Gio, that is how high can the pure auger-driven pier system be?
I've seen them as high as 3 feet off the ground. No, 3.5.
Oh, that's
3.5, you said?
3.5. That's the highest I've seen them out of the ground. I mean, that doesn't mean they can't go higher, but I mean,
Okay.
for the
So
ones that I've
it's
seen.
not a system that you would put a house on top of and park a car underneath.
I don't know. You'd have to research that. I'm
No.
sure, I mean, the ones I saw, they were like no more than like maybe 6 inches at the most. And
I'll tell you right now. No, when you go up a floor, the lateral forces that are involved alone would require shear restraints that are all doable. I mean, there's sort of two answers to your question, Mark. One is you could go up a long way with those things and deal with immense vertical loads, totally down loads. But as soon as you get up above 8 feet on a bunch of piers, you have to deal with a lot of shear considerations and wind and even some places seismic, all of which are very straightforward remedies. It's common in building, and we all know that there's people who park underneath their. I'm doing a garage right now where, it's a huge clear span garage and it's got an entire residence on top, and we're using a lot of Simpson strong wall because just to deal with the shear.
so, yeah.
So, excuse me, security has discovered me.
That's it. He's in trouble. That anything is as John said, anything is possible. It's just that you will have to do some sort of structural gymnastics to make it work. There are many systems out there that can be used. You would just have to look into them. And like I said, the systems I saw were 4.5 feet off the ground. If you go to about 8 feet, those systems will be, as John said, will be good in compression, but with the wind and any other kind of lateral loads, it would have to be steadied structurally. So that's what you would have to look at. I mean, the people that actually make the product may have thought about this and may have a remedy to it, but that's why I'm saying you need to look into it.
How big of a deal is the hot box concept? I mean, that seems like something that you'd have to do, right? And are you kind of going quite a ways along the ways towards a foundation there when you do that?
So what you're doing is you're creating kind of like a space where you're creating kind of like a space where it can be heated or where it won't freeze. And
but how expensive is a hot box?
I've never actually put one in.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I can just imagine it being, you're going down, 4 feet, 4.5 feet, because you want to really go below frost. You don't want to go to frost. And depending on where you are, 4.5, 5 feet, the box would have to be big enough so that, I guess, person can go down there if anything needs to be repaired or replaced. Even if you do something at 6 by 6. Okay, it's not a 20. Well, how big is this? 29 by 30? I can't remember. 27 or 29 by 30?
27 by 53.
Okay, right, by 50. Okay, so it's not that big, but yeah. I mean, you'd be kind of doing like a smaller foundation specifically for where all these pipes are coming through or going through.
And then, of course, you do need some kind of an aesthetic skirt. So,
yeah,
it all adds up, and maybe foundation is just easier.
We're doing a project now here in Vermont, and we just finished the drawings for it and the model, and initially they didn't want any. Excuse me. Didn't want a basement. They wanted just to do a frost wall, and we talked them into, having a basement just in the portion where you're going to have the hot water tank, where the water's coming in from the well, where your stacks are going to be, and then after some going back and forth, we kind of played with the plan, and so it turned out that we really don't need the basement anymore, but you still need a crawl space. And if you're going to have a crawl space, I've been in crawl spaces where, I'm sorry, I would never go again. But the thing is that you need a crawl space for a guy to go in there and do some repair work. You need a crawl space where at least somebody can be at least on his knees and kind of be upright, so to do some work. All right, and not a lot of, and this is not a painted picture for all repair people, but not all of them are very thin, and they to get, as soon as they look at a crawl space, they're like, oh my God. So you want to give them some room. So I mean, we're doing crawl space now. I did from the top, it's ICFs. The footing is 8 inches high, and then we got 4.5 feet on top of that. And the 8 inches is you've got 4 inches of styrofoam, and then the rest is styrofoam, 15 mil poly, and then gravel on top of that. So that's pretty much on with the top of the foundation. So you've got 4.5 feet that a person can do some work in there. I mean, if it's a really tall guy, where he's gonna, even if he's on his knees, he's gonna probably be bending down a bit. But I mean, if it's a normal sized person, then at least you've got some room. And you really want that. You really want that room to for a person to get down there and do that work. So,
yeah, the condo that I live in has a crawl space underneath, and I would say it's close to 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think that's adequate. I mean, I've done stuff down there, and it's okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
another part of the motivation is I'd like to be as environmental as possible, and I'd like to be foam free. And there's a foundation is well, I mean, if with a foundation with just a crawl space, it does that can be foam free, but any kind of a slab is going to need foam, right?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, by making it a crawl space, which is not, you don't have air going through, and you're tightening it up, you're helping tighten up the rest of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you really want to, have a house that's tight, and you want to not have the air that's going to be going through underneath the crawl space, try to pull out some of the air that's in your, in your home. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, I was very attracted to the idea of a polished concrete floor, but the word that I've gotten from actually one of the workshops is that that's even with a ton of foam in there and insulation, it's cold.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be, because you can do an Alaskan slab that's well insulated. It won't be cold.
Really?
I've done them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, it won't be cold. You have to do it correctly, but
And what is? I'm just curious. What is correctly? I mean, how much? What do you put?
I've put up to 6 inches of foam under an Alaskan slab, and then you do underneath the actual slab, and then on the sides, because the sides are almost like walls. We've brought them up about 8 inches above the grade. Okay, and then we brought, but we used ICFs. We use ICFs. I mean,
what does an Alaskan slab mean? What is an Alaskan?
It's what it is. It's a structural slab that any movement, the whole thing moves as one piece, rather than breaking and moving in one corner and staying in another corner. So, and actually, the Alaskan slab is an American term, We Canadians call it a floating slab.
No, but it makes sense if you think about a flat, like a raft. A raft, when it's floating around on the ocean, doesn't deform; it just floats around. And the thing about a Alaskan slab or a floating slab is that if there's a frost heave in one location, one point that would normally destroy a non-structural slab, all it does is push the whole thing up. The proper structural term is plate. It's a plate. It's a, I didn't know Americans called them Alaskan slabs.
Yeah, Canadians we call them floating slabs.
I always call them floating slabs.
Okay.
Sometimes I call them Canadian slabs.
There we go.
Well, you've gone a long way to convince me to not go pier system, but.
Well, listen, there's nothing wrong with any of these systems. You just, my only suggestion is you really look into them and research them and make sure that you go into using them with your eyes open and be mindful of what exactly it can do and what it can't do. So.
Yeah, I must say that I've seen a lot of buildings beautifully piered on sites like Carroll's, where frequently the back and side walls are more traditional foundation walls and the whole front is piered, and I've seen it look great. Where I see it mostly fail is where people embrace it as a cost-cutting measure. Oh, I'm going to put it all on piers and save all this money. And then it ends up, yeah, they get the job done partially, but it doesn't look good. And it's not an enhancement to the house. It looks just like what it is, an attempt to save money. So I guess what I'm saying is if you go in, just like Gio has just said, if you go in with your eyes open and really design it all the way through, not just, yeah, it's going to sit on this foundation made of piers. It can be hugely successful, and it might save you money.
Which is always a good thing.
I like the might part. I was assuming it definitely would save money, but
I've been around too many money-saving deals before.
Mark, nice job on the model. It's come a long way since you showed it to me. So nice job on the model.
Yeah, that's compelling.
Yes. So, all right. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
Nope. Thank you.
Excuse me. All right. Wonderful. Okay. Ron and Joseph, one of you two guys are going to go. Who's going to go next?
I'll jump in here.
Shoot.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Hey, you know what? With a time commitment, 3 teenagers and a new job, I'm afraid I'm just going to have to audit through this time. I see this as a terrific opportunity, especially to tap into resources like you guys, but I just don't have the time to do it justice. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
I think you could, if you worked it right, you could get those teenagers to help you. The ones I know are very good with computers.
Teach them SketchUp, maybe. Maybe they could do it for you.
I did talk to one of them about it, but he's busy working 2 jobs himself and in school.
Oh yeah, that's what mine always tells me too.
I will tell you, I had a lot of trouble with SketchUp, and a couple of short sessions with Gio, cleared up in minutes, literally what I had spent hours trying to figure out. So.
And this really was a fact finding. I don't have the means to build anything right now. I'm in a house. We're very happy. We're going to be here for a few more years, so I've still got some time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Joseph, no problem.
Yeah, use us.
Yeah, use us. Come up with questions. It's always good. Okay, cool. All right,
Thank
Ron. You're next.
Wait a minute. Joseph, did you say you had something nevertheless, or You were outing yourself. You were simply saying, I'm going to audit this, but don't expect a lot of product. Well, just to emphasize what Gio's saying, please come every time and audit it. Yeah, absolutely. We like having you here, and you paid your tuition. And if you finish, it entitles you to come back tuition free at any given time in the future. Yeah. So it's worth hanging out.
And I did have an interesting tour of Westchester, who is a modular home builder here in Connecticut. And so that was fun. Enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. When'd you go?
I actually went the second week of class, so it was back a while.
Oh, right.
Should have told us. We could have told you who to give a hard time to.
Well, I did tell you because John, they knew you.
Yes, they do.
And you actually told me to say hi to someone over there.
Yeah, probably John Colucci or Ron Marino. Yeah, those are the two.
John, could you clarify what you said about that you can come back? Do you mean you could re-audit the course?
Yeah, it's actually, you take the course over again. We don't bump students, first-time students who are paying tuition, but if a course isn't full and you've taken a course, and this applies to any Yestermorrow course like this, and you say, oh, gee, now it's been a year and I never asked them how to flash my chimney. That never just came up. And now, you know what? And I also didn't ask them this and that. And you know what? I'm going to take that course again. With courses that are on campus, you have to still pay for your room and board and all that. But the actual tuition is waived.
Okay.
Yeah. Our theory is come for a few weeks, stay forever. Or at least until you build your first house. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Bob Villa. He has, I think it's a 10 episodes of from the foundation through the planning all the way and building a modular home.
No, I haven't seen that.
It's a home that was built in the Berkshires, and he used Simplex out of Scranton. And I read a book by Michael Buchanan where he builds a house in the Berkshires, and the book walks you through it. And I think it's the same home. So
Buchanan's book, that's also a prefab from Simplex?
Yes. And I actually think the Bob Villa series is the same house.
Could be. It would be like Bob to piggyback on somebody else's effort. That's interesting. I will look that up. That's a good tip, Joseph. Simplex is, not a factory that has a completely unblemished reputation. So I'd be interested to. I'm sure they did their best work for this old house. So it'll be interesting to see what they did.
All right, I'm muting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. But you don't have to go under the table. I don't know what you're doing over there, but we're all wondering we figure you've got a bottle of really good whiskey down there that you keep drinking. Where are you going?
There you go. Take another sip.
I'm on the phone, and my phone's sitting on the desk, so I'm leaning over to reach for it.
It's great. It's very. Oh, I see. All right.
All right, Ron. We'll save the best for last. How's that?
Anchorman.
There we go.
Okay. Let me just tell you what my the situation is. The house design that I'm doing for the course is for a friend up in the Lake George area, Brant Lake in New York. I'm out in Utah for until April, middle of April. So I've researched the builders in Utah, or the manufacturers in Utah, because this is one of the locations that we're thinking about relocating to a permanent, house for ourselves.
Hmm.
Eh, Boulder is another choice, maybe even Idaho. So we're kind of looking at different places. So this is but because of skiing, this is my first choice. Um, and So anyway, so I went down to Irontown. Irontown is the only manufacturer in Utah. There is like 3 in Idaho around the Boise area, but that's like a 5-6 hour drive. And there's 1 in the Boulder area, Boulder, Colorado. So this one is like 30 minutes from me, this Irontown, where I'm staying right now. So this is great. And I went down, had a tour of their facilities, and they've been manufacturing houses for about 30 years. So they're not new at all. And they build themselves as high end, and they build a lot, which kind of surprised me, for California residents. The reason being that the biggest thing is the labor costs in California is just outrageous to build anything, and it's pretty reasonable here. So a lot of their houses are very, on the website and whatnot, very high end, very modern, and they look really nice. Now, Carol, the square footage price that I mentioned, that's the low end, okay? And they go up to the $400 area, 400 plus. And but they also they build homes, and they build for commercial. And they build small hotels. And they've got a very interesting thing that's in the factory right now, which I saw, which they're building these separate units. They're trailer size for a hotel in Yosemite, which is really interesting. So it's going to be, I don't know, I think there's 52 or something like that of these modular homes that they're bringing into Yosemite and setting them up. So I toured some of those. They're about 14 feet wide by kind of standard trailer size, but they're really going to be pretty nice. So anyway, I was impressed with the manufacturer, and I definitely consider them if we do build either in Colorado or Utah. They claim to be, and in fact they are. They ship their houses all through the West, but especially there's a lot in California. I was just impressed with their facility too. They're really doing. They look like they're doing some good work. So that was my and they do somewhat high performance. Probably that's not their specialty, but their standard walls are 6 inches thick. So they do some of the high performance, but their specialty really is just fancy high end, probably California homes. Okay, so that was my tour.
Here they are, by the way. Yeah.
Yep.
You can sort of.
Yeah, there's a lot in Park City too, which is a really high end area in Utah.
Right. There we go. Yeah, so everything you just said, but this sort of gives it some visual.
Yeah, and the modern. I want to go somewhat modern with both houses that I'm thinking of, and they definitely do a lot of modern.
What do you think modern means?
Like that Santa Barbara, not colonial is to me modern. Like,
So, but what keeps modern from being boxy?
I just
I'm being the devil's advocate here.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of tired of looking at colonials. So different. I gravitate to it.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm trying to do, Ron, is make you a more astute shopper of modern, because boxy is not the same as modern, and some of these are,
People could call these the modern ones boxy. I happen to think that I like them.
Yeah, good. I'm just trying to get you to. So there's this one in Menlo Park, which is that you would have to call modern.
Yes.
But it certainly has a very different look than, say, this one in Carlsbad or this one in Santa Barbara.
But I like all of those as opposed to the one over here to the right looks like
this one here. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I take your point, and it's actually refreshing to have somebody who's had their fill of, what is that? I've lost us. Sorry, I should stop sharing the screen. That I just crashed. I think it's good to have somebody who's is moving on from just the standard colonial response.
Well,
but
Carol's house looks pretty modern.
Yeah. So it's not really the right conversation for this course, but there's a certain aesthetic awareness. So not everything that's not colonial is modern. It's just not colonial. And then what you have to do is have criteria for good, better, best, not colonial. So, some of it's architecture, some of it's just boxy. I think a lot of people who are so fed up with colonial and all its perturbations that they settle for something which is not particularly good alternative. It's just an alternative. And they're so relieved for it not to be colonial that they maybe miss that there's certain nuances in modern architecture that make one better than the other, understandably. But as I say, it's a sort of thing for a design course, not a prefab course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want me to go into my design?
Yeah. Show us what you got.
Okay. Well, it's not as much as the previous two, that's for sure. But let me. You see that?
Yep.
Talk about boxy.
That's boxy.
That's boxy.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let me. I got to get over to the screen.
Let's go right to the stairs.
I did the stairs.
Where's the garage with the nice?
It came out right.
What happened to the grooves that we were working on?
There's the stairs.
All right. Okay. You can go home.
Okay. I got to. The picture is on the wrong side here. Let me just move this. Okay. 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 Great. Okay. I got to request some help for. I am challenged with the SketchUp. Okay, and it's really slowing me down. So I'll be reaching out to Gio or John to give me some help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've only been hounding you for the past 2 weeks.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
It's all right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. We need to reach a little further.
I can fly out to
Today was a
Utah.
powder ski day, a powder day. Okay, so I do have my priorities.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
No,
was in
no.
Utah. I know there's no powder days out there. I was out there since our last meeting.
You were out here?
I was in Park City.
Is that right? Oh, Park City doesn't get the snow. Alta does. You go to the wrong place.
Well, I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I heard reports. Park City is not good. Anyway. But I did do some interesting layers and whatnot. Let me take off the. Okay.
The other side.
This right here is the ceiling for the first floor and the structure of the floor above it. This is a. Let me just. Oops.
You gotta, yeah, you gotta.
See a little
can't
black
see
dot?
this?
Bring it up to,
Yeah, okay,
put it
take
up
that
to
off.
layers. Yeah, take that off. Put it up to layer 0, and then you're set. Go there. Okay, now you can. There you go.
Okay, okay. I put the walls in. I'm really gonna get, okay, this is
Good.
1/2 of the lower floor. It's a duplex. And there's the mirror image over here of this. This is facing south, it's facing the lake. And this is, yes, yeah, this is east, west, and north, okay? And there's a garage back here. And there's a floor, so this is a double module. The module goes this way.
Mhm.
So this is 28 feet across here and 25 feet long here. So what I'm talking about is 3 modules, one sitting on top and 2 modules long. Did everybody follow that? Because it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
Or okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The entryway is here, utility room here, bathroom here, and this is an open area, the kitchen back here. Oops. Yeah, which I haven't expanded yet. But I did take your suggestion, John, about the kitchen. I think it lays out much better. But there was a wall in here, and I put some
Right.
furniture in, and this is really, really tiny. And I'm trying to figure out a way of using modules, but get a little more room. And I need the room down here, not on the second level. And
No problem. You know, see, it's too bad it's not dotted in, but you see see what's called the marriage wall or the mate wall that runs between the 2 mods right there.
Yeah, right here.
So there's nothing keeping you from taking the front mod, the view mod, and just stretching it further to the right to give you more living room, which would, if you keep the back mod the same dimension, if you stretch that one in the front out a bit, you're going to not only have more area to put furniture, but you're going to get a northern view window in your, that can look back. It doesn't need to be a big window, but just it's nice to be able to see all sides.
I'm not following you, John. Right here is the split line. Okay.
Right. So
right here, there is a post here because I
Right.
eliminated some of this wall.
Right. So if you go to the outside wall between the other outside wall, the one to the east, the eastern wall.
Oh, okay.
That one. So there's going to be a split between the front and the back box, right?
Right.
So if you drew that line in, let's see.
Yeah.
Now I'm putting you on the spot. How would you do that? You would get your tape measure and you would pull it from the front corner, right? You pull it from the front, or no, rotate it up a little bit. Just rotate your model up a little bit so we can see that.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's good. A
Right
little
here?
more. That's good. Yeah. Now take your tape and put it on the corner. Just hit T. Yeah. Okay. Not there, but on the corner of about halfway down the corner of the building. Halfway
Right here?
down. No, halfway down. See the corner of the building? the corner
corner
where
domes here.
yeah, right. Now go down to about halfway down. Slide it down. Okay, right there's fine. Now take it and pull 14 feet to your right. Yep. You can just say 14 feet. You can just type it in.
All right, wait, just, shit.
You got it. Don't worry about that. Yep. Okay, now just type 14 feet. There you go. Return. There you go. So now if you draw a line down there, take your pencil, draw a line down there. And I'm gonna be sloppy here for a minute. Actually, now draw the line up over the top edge there. Oh, right? Be sure it's on axis. Yeah. Don't go to the midpoint of the group. Just you might have to zoom in on that. Okay, that's good right there. Boom. Okay, now take your push-pull tool, your P. It's just P or push-pull.
What am I going to push-pull? Tell me what
you're going to push-pull right there where your cursor is.
I've done.
Oh, you got to open the. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, you're going to have to draw the line again. You're going to have to that's all right. Just draw it right over that one. Yep, and then down. Yep. There we go. Okay, now push-pull that. Yeah, push-pull that.
Which way? To the right?
To the right, say 4 feet. Maybe, yeah, 4 feet. 6 feet, whatever you like.
Yeah, there's a limit, okay.
Okay, now you got to rotate around so you're looking at the inside of the model, because you got to draw the inside line.
How could
a little more rotating.
What am I looking for? Oh.
There we go. Now we're talking. Right there's good. You got it. Okay, draw that line down. L or P for pen or L, whatever your. Yep. Okay, good. Now take your tape and measure. Take your tape and put it anywhere on that line you just drew, and pull it in 6 inches or 8 inches, but just pull it to the right.
8 inches?
Sure. I don't know, whatever your exterior walls are. I usually
they're 10 inches.
Okay. Well then, now draw a line there. Right. Okay. Now use your push-pull. What did you pull that out for? 3 feet before?
It was, I think.
4 feet. 4 feet.
4 feet.
4 feet. Okay. So use your push-pull tool and push that inside surface. No, not the T, not the tape. Oh, I see. You're just measuring 310. Okay. So you.
3 feet.
Well, or three feet.
Because he said
3 feet 2, I guess. Depending on your wall thickness.
46 inches. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either. What I would do is, why don't you pull it out another, what is it, 310? Pull it out another 2 inches. or not. It doesn't matter. My point is made here. Basically, you see what I'm saying, is you're just stretching the box.
But how can you do that? Because I thought you told us the box was 50 feet long.
No, they can go up to 72 feet.
Oh, okay. That would help a lot.
Yeah.
That would help. That would help.
Now, Ron, I have to apologize because, in the interest of time, I just urged you to do a lot of fairly sloppy SketchUp work. So you're gonna, as an exercise for the student, you're gonna have to go back and clean this up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you know, like you want your exterior walls to all be the same thickness. And
Yeah,
stuff
no,
like that.
no.
Right. But you can see that you could
That would
extend
help.
this quite a bit more than 4 feet.
That would help tremendously.
Yeah, and if you extend it, let's just do something. Flip it around and just pull it randomly out a bit more. I just want to show you your opportunity for a window. Okay, so just pull that out another 1 foot 2 inches. Yeah, boink, 1 foot 2 inches. Okay, that's good. Now go on the inside. And how thick are your walls? 10 inches?
Yeah.
10 inches, yeah.
Yeah, so push the inside wall 4 feet 2 inches. That one there, yeah, just push that 4 feet 2 inches.
Whoops.
Yeah, Control Z. Yeah, that's it.
4 feet 2 inches?
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So what I wanted to show you was, you see how, now you just stretched that out 5 feet, but you've created this little wing wall to the north or to the non-view side that, you know, gives you some opportunity as far as design goes. You know, it could be, if you put a little window in there, it could be a little place to sit or a place for coffee or whatever it is. I mean, every window has many opportunities, but so you're gonna, whatever you do on this side, presumably you do on the other side. It's a mirror image.
Well, okay, that does solve, you know, making this area bigger. Okay.
It does, but I should point out that you did something very smart. We went right over it. You laid out furniture to figure out how big that space was. That's really, that's a very smart way to get a sense of the space. Yeah. So you need you need to do that again with the larger space.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I wanted to get a little bit more. I really want to see what this thing is going to look like on the outside. The other thing is this bath. Let me hold it 1 second. Sorry. This is a bathroom, and it's the size of the bathroom that we have now, and it's fine. It's small, but it's okay. The utility room, I wanted the washer and dryer in here, and the utility room is really, I don't think, adequate for washer and dryer and the other stuff.
Yeah.
You're just looking at it and you're saying no?
No, it's not. Well, you could put a stacked washer and dryer in there.
Yeah.
And you could have a little bit of storage along one wall. It looks like that's only about 4 feet wide.
It is.
Not even.
It's 3 feet 8. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's tight, Ron.
By 13.
That's a cool space.
So even with a stackable washer and dryer, that's not big enough.
Well, it's just a little odd. I mean, if you had a stacked washer dryer at the end, that would take up that whole end, and so you would go in the 13-foot space. Now it's going to be more like a 10-foot space, maybe a 9-foot space with plumbing, and so you'd be walking from a door in your utility room or your mud room. You'd be walking. I guess what you. Yeah, I mean, you could theoretically you could do it. It's just that you would be walking along a hallway to a laundry altar at the end. It'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. Walking through the hall to a little laundry, it's closed off.
I know, but it's at 3 feet 8 inches, and with the laundry stacked at the end, it's going to look like a hallway with a laundry. It's going to feel like a laundry because the hallway is
this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So almost might be better to reconfigure, maybe turn your bathroom 90 degrees or something. Make that, is that just a half bath that you've got downstairs for your guests?
No, that's a full bath. There's room for a bathtub here, and
Why is that? There's no bedrooms on this level, are there?
the idea is that if my friend if he didn't want to climb stairs for a bedroom, if he got, that he couldn't climb stairs anymore, he could make a bedroom down here.
Okay. So then in that case, why don't you, to give more room to utility room, you could move the stairs. No, you couldn't. Well, maybe you could.
This is support.
Mm-hmm.
That's the double wall.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is, why not move the stairs fully into the one of the modules? Make it so that when you come up to the top of the stairs, you're gonna come up and turn
here.
Turn towards the east. Excuse me. And then by doing that, now you've got room to move the bathroom the way it is to the middle, to the end of the module, and now that makes that room now comes to the 3/8. You probably got double 3/8 there, so now you got more than enough room for everything.
The problem with that is that by doing that, the stairs take up a lot more room in the upstairs.
Yeah.
Upstairs, and that is really tight right now.
Right.
Okay.
This is very efficient. It's just, I like that. That adds a lot to it. But
I think the answer is somewhere you have to make I realize that the bathroom access has to be at the bottom of the stairs there. It's all that's left. But if you move that wall, the back wall of the kitchen, if you move that a little bit to the rear so you could put a door in to the left of that wall, then, well, that wouldn't help either, actually. What I'm trying to do is...
What if you put the stairs in this nook you created?
In the what?
The bump out over here with the window and the stairwell.
Oh, I love that idea. That's worth exploring. Do you get that, Ron? Do you see what Carol suggested?
Yeah, move the stairs over to here. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do. Isn't the stairs a group?
Yes, it is.
So you just click on the group and copy it.
It would have to be turned around.
No, I'm going to show you how to do that. It's like one.
You want to take control? Or
sure. No, you can do this. You are ready for this. So just click on the group. Don't open it. Just click on it. Just identify it. There we go. Now Control C, copy it. We're going to leave it right there.
Oh, okay.
You got a copy?
I don't know. I did Control C, but
okay, good. Now do Control V, and that'll paste it. And you'll just all of a sudden your cursor will turn into a move. Control V. Okay, so now move your cursor. See, there it is. Okay, now move it outside your model so it's not. We want to mess with it a little. So yeah, that's good. Right there. Just okay, good. Now type S for scale. S. Yeah, there we go. Now rotate it a little so you can get at those are called handles, those little squares. So just rotate your whole, no, don't do that. That's not good. Get your orbit tool and rotate the whole model up just a little bit. Orbit. No, your orbit tool is the one that rotates the whole model. Just hit O. I think you can just hit O. Type O. Yeah, there you go. Now just rotate it up a little bit. Just rotate up. Yep, that's it. There we go. It's coming. Okay, good. Right there. Now that's good. That's fine. Now type S again for scale. Okay, now take the handle, the little square, little cube that's right in the middle of the surface on our side. No, right in the middle. Oh, not that surface. The side surface. Yep, that's it. Right there. That's the one. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing inside out, and that's how you're going to reverse it. You just stretch that up away from you, and it'll sort of snap in when it's the right.
So I left click.
Okay, now. Okay, go the other direction. Yep. Go right. Yep. Keep going. Keep going. Go right through it. See this? Okay, and then, well, that's a little excessive, but now you want to go back to, just pull it back to the width that it was. Yeah, right.
It's 40 inch.
You're gonna have to rotate a little. Maybe I should take over here. Because you've now got one handle covering another handle, and that's an invitation for disaster. Is there a way for me to get controls? Gio, do you know a way to get me controls?
I think, here, let me just.
Sorry. View options, request control. View options, request.
Okay.
It says view options at the top and says request control, and it's
okay. I got them. I got them. Okay, so. Usually snaps. There it is. Okay, so now I can just move this thing.
There.
I'm going to do this.
Push it up a bit.
Gio must be itching. There's nothing more frustrating than watching somebody else do a SketchUp. Am I right? Is it true?
It's true. It's true. It's true.
So this thing is a little bit off, but it's enough to just experiment with Carol's idea, which we see, right away, we see a few problems, but
if you actually flipped it, if you maybe flipped it, flipped it so that
the front stairs came up and it went back this way.
Yes.
Well, I think I'm going to leave that as an experiment
for Ron.
For Ron, because see, the problem with not the challenge with this approach is this stair goes this much of it goes all the way to the mating wall, and then it goes through the marriage wall and down here. We've squeezed the whole thing in so that it's really if it was to be the mirror image, it would have to be more like this. Right. And then I think this will, well, doesn't after all. Let's see if I can. So, Ron, this is a good demonstration of what's possible within modular, which is to say that now what this is suggesting is you could take a little bit of the rear mod and stretch that out as well. But before you run off and do that, I think what this shows is that Carol's suggestion is a good one. It just is not a plug and play one. You've got to
play with it.
You got to play with it, and I think what Gio is suggesting is probably the right direction to go to. What's your oops, it's still a little bit. Still a little bit weird. It's a little bit wide.
Yeah, it's slightly wide.
Yeah, to say the least. Usually when you do that little trick that I was showing you how to do,
Yeah.
if you do it with some smoothness, when it gets close to the exact inversion of what you started with, it'll snap to it.
Okay.
You have to, I don't think
That's
you
what I
can.
want to do with this whole module. Once I'm comfortable with it, is
Yeah.
that kind of thing for the other side.
Anyway, we'll just talk about it in plan. So the problem here is that if we put it exactly the mirror image of what's over here, then it doesn't fit into the mod. If we were to move it so that it fits into the mod, then by the time you get to the top steps, you're into a wall. So what that would suggest is you come up here, come up to a landing here, and then come this way in. I don't know how that relates to your upstairs, but you could, in other words, and this little conflict between the kitchen and the first string of stairs can be resolved by just stretching this out enough,
Right.
so that instead of the stairs coming at a right angle out like this, if you stretch it out another 3 feet, you can have these stairs come all the way around and come, so you're going up the stairs to a landing, maybe up 2 more stairs on the landing, then up this way to a landing, and then the final few stairs up this way.
I see what you're saying. This is what I think I want to do with this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
This right here is really this is the view of the lake,
Right.
and then you put stairs in there. It just ruins this whole thing.
You mean the corner view?
Yes, the whole corner view. There's going to be sliders here, so it kind of disturbs. What I
Okay.
want to play with a little bit is make this back module bigger also, and fool around with these 2 areas, and maybe flip the bathroom, and
Okay.
and make the maybe bathroom go this way, so I have more room, so that
Ron,
I'm not quite sure how I get access to this.
Ron, listen. If you took your stairs where they are now,
Yes.
okay, and you moved it, and you never mind moving your stairs. If you took the stairs where they are now, and you just placed them into the first module, okay, the module that's closer to the lake, okay, you could do what John just said, making kind of like a U of a stair, okay. Now that gives you that much more room to move.
Somebody's typing. I'm having a tough time hearing you.
Oh, I'm not sure who's typing.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I wonder if I can mute myself. Hold on. I'm responding to a chat query, and I'm also eating crackers in bed.
Okay. Anyway, so as I was saying, if you were to take the stairs and do what John suggested, but move them towards the lake on the side that you've got them on now, okay?
Yeah.
Now, that space, see the space that you have where your landing and your stairs are, how wide is that? Measure it. How wide is that? Get the measuring tape.
This is 40 inches.
Okay, so you would have that 40 inches added on to your utility room, because you would move the bathroom to where the stairs are, and now your utility room is 40 inches wider. Okay, and you can, and it actually kind of helps to put in your door anywhere you want now for that utility room.
So how would the stairs? Where would you enter the stairs?
The stairs would. Let me get control. Let me show you. There we go. Yes. All right. So, see these stairs here?
Yeah.
If you took them, just for the hell of it, let's just do this. Now, they would have to be reconfigured so that, okay, so that's the wall. So let's leave it there. Okay, bear with me. Look the other way. All right. We do this. All right, so there's your stairs. Now, if we,
Oh, I see.
if you
Yeah,
took
but-
John's suggestion and you made these stairs and you turned them into a U shape, okay? You came up, you've got a little bit of a landing, you come up, you got another landing, and then you got a couple more steps to the up
Okay.
to the top
Okay.
floor. Now, this space here,
Yeah, no, I see.
you move this over. Now that space translates into adding it to this space here. So now you got a much wider utility room. If you wanted to, you could put in your laundry, your washer and dryer side by side, or even stack it. And you've got more than enough room to put in your utility. And have you thought about HVAC, or have you thought about how
Everything that Peter was talking about, I really like.
Okay, so you a serve. Okay, so you're going to be using a serve. A serve needs a minimum of 6 square feet. So you got like 40 inches plus 3/8. That gives you 80, 86. You got 86 by 13 feet, which is more than 6 by 6 feet. So you got more than enough room to put in a stackable washer and dryer and put in your mechanicals.
So you're saying that whole 40 inches add to this?
Yeah. It becomes 40 inches wider.
Yeah, that's.
And that gives you more than enough room in the utility room to do what you want to do. I mean, you still have to be you got to, be mindful of what you're putting in there. Okay, what is actually going in there? If you like the serve takes up room. So 6 by 6 is for the serve, and then what's left you could do for
Wait a minute, wait a minute. That's 36 square feet. That takes 36 square feet?
Well, it's the machine, it's the serve, and it's all the piping leading to it, that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
and you may have room for a hot water tank and maybe an expansion tank.
Okay.
But this is what you want to do. You want to play with it, and
Is there, not to interrupt, but while you're on the serve,
Yeah.
Ron, this is on a slope site. Is there not space underneath this thing?
No, this is not on a slopes. This is a level site.
it's on the lake.
It's-
Remember?
It's on a lake, and I've got to put a frost wall foundation in there.
I'm just wondering if the serve can go in the basement.
If he puts in it's actually the idea of them putting it in the module is to keep everything inside.
Right. Okay.
It didn't seem like they had that big a utility room in those units that Ramad was.
Did you go to Vermont?
No, I haven't. I'm in Utah, no. From the talk that Peter was given, he had sketches of some of the houses. It didn't look like that big a utility room.
Can I show you how big the utility room is?
Yeah, please.
May I take control of your?
You have it.
I have control of your screen. No, relinquish control. Hang on a second. Let's do this. Let's give up remote control, and then share screen. And we're gonna go here, share screen, and we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna go. Where am I? Oh, come on, guys. What happened? There it is. That's one picture of their utility room in their model home.
I'm not seeing it.
You're not seeing it?
I don't. You got to share your screen.
I am sharing my screen. Hang on, let me try to.
No, then you have to go select it. It's a 2-step process. Remember?
I do remember. How's that? Does everybody see it now?
Exactly. Nope. Exactly. No.
Exactly. No. Hang on a second. Nice. Exactly. No.
It's getting late now. We're getting crotchety.
I know you're getting crotchety. Hang on. Stop sharing.
Some of us start early.
Yes. I understand that. Here. Okay. What if I did that? Do you see that at all?
No.
You don't see it. Huh, interesting. Okay.
What, do you have it up on your screen and you're trying to share your screen with everybody else?
Well, it says here I'm already sharing it, but I mean, I guess you guys aren't seeing it. Now, let's try this. Hang on. I'm going to stop sharing screen. I'm going to do this.
Yestermorrow Design Build Online has started screen share.
Nope.
Maybe to share Ron's screen.
No, hang on. Let me do this. I'll do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, I love that. The old-fashioned Zoom.
The old-fashioned Zoom. Hang on. Give me a second. Okay, so let's try this now. Where'd you guys go?
Well, you're having a lot of development, but we're looking at the same old thing.
Nice. I love you too. Hang on a second here. Where am I? I can't even find you guys anymore. Where is it?
I so sympathize with your situation. That's exactly what I was going through.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. All right. Here we go. Let's try this now. Share screen.
No, that looks promising.
Let's do this. Okay, this one. All right. Okay, here we go. Can everybody see this?
No.
You don't see these pictures?
Yes, wait a minute. You got to change it on. I see it now. You know what you do is each person has to go up and hit choose share options. I see it.
Do you see the two pictures of the surf?
Yeah, there they are.
I'm not.
Nobody sees them?
A new share.
See, at the top, if you move your cursor to the top of your screen, everybody, down will come a tab, and on the right side of the tab, it says View Options. And if you click on that,
Then you choose Yestermorrow Design Build.
Yes, choose that.
Yeah.
And do you get it?
I'm not finding this.
I'm not either.
It's
top of
next to the green bar. See the green bar? Right next to the green bar, it says View Options.
Correct.
Mine didn't see that.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Everybody got it?
No.
Ron,
Go to just slide your cursor up until it looks like you're sliding it right off the top of the screen. But
I'm seeing that, but that option is not available.
It doesn't.
I got remote control.
You don't have a view options, black tab view option?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Well, so much for that idea.
Well,
anyway, I'll send you pictures, Ron, of the.
wait a minute. I have one workaround that I can do here, Gio.
Sure. Shoot.
I'm just going to do this. Okay.
Boy, it's big.
So now, if you give me, if I get to share the screen, view options, I now can show it because I just took a screenshot of it.
Okay.
Screenshot.
Okay, so
there's
I'll
the thing,
stop.
desktop.
I'll stop sharing it.
Okay.
Now you can do whatever you gotta do.
Okay, so we're gonna just do, where to go? Here it is. All right, so this is about as clunky as it gets, but can everybody see that?
I'm still just seeing my model.
Did you share your screen, John? Because I'm seeing.
Yeah, it says share. Nobody else sees it.
No, I don't see it.
Ron stopped sharing his screen, and then y'all.
How do I stop sharing the screen? Yes.
Right. I think that's the problem.
Okay.
Oh, stop share. Okay. Now.
There the picture.
Got
Does
it.
everybody see?
Sorry about that.
Does everybody see this picture now? Does everybody see this picture now?
Yes.
Okay. That's the size of the utility room that Vermont had for their model home. It's a minimum 6 by 6. This is the size of the serve. That's the serve. That's how big the serve is. The serve 2 is slightly smaller by 2 inches in width and in depth. This is the serve 1.
Is the whole utility room 6 by 6?
Yes. Okay. In here you've got the serve, You've got the hot water tank, as you can see here to your left, and then you've got the expansion tank, which is kind of next to the hot water tank, if you can imagine that.
Okay, so no, that makes sense. I thought you were saying just the serve alone is 6 by 6.
No,
But the
they
whole
need
facility-
they need 6 by 6, and that means everything. But okay,
everything.
nice face there. How did that? Chrome dome.
Okay, so we're obviously getting a little late here.
Anyway, so Ron, this is what I was talking to you about. If you give yourself an extra 40 inches, okay, and add it to your 3/8, plus it's 13 feet deep, you've got more than enough room to not only do this, but maybe even put in a stackable washer and dryer.
Right.
But I really don't know if that's where you want to put your stackable washer and dryer. I'd consider it.
What's the expansion thing you were talking about?
Expansion tank, the expansion tank.
What is an expansion tank?
It's when you, it's, how do I explain this? Water that's coming in from the well goes through the expansion tank, pressurizes the water so that to go through
So
your
it has
faucet.
to do with wells.
Yeah.
It just has to do with wells? Okay.
It's so you have consistent water pressure throughout your house. In other words, and also so your well pump doesn't run all the time. So whenever your pressure in the pressure tank gets down to usually like 20 pounds or 15 pounds, a switch turns on your well pump. It pressurizes this localized little storage, and then that serves, then when you turn on your water and stuff, you always get 15 PSI in your, 15 PSI in your lines.
Yeah.
So it's,
So no well, no problem with expansion.
Yeah.
If I have a well, then something.
if you're using municipal water,
You don't have it.
you probably don't have it, or you might have it actually sometimes, but anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Gio, we're gonna have a well up here, so so I'm gonna need that and everything else. So minimum 6 by 6 is what I need for utility room.
Well, 6 by 6 for
The serve.
the serve.
I'm still not.
So figure
So
8
what
by
else?
8. Figure 8 by 8 is a good,
Okay.
just 8 by 8 is a good holding place. I mean, Gio, wouldn't one serve do both sides of this duplex? It's independent of all other systems. It just works on itself. So you could,
Right, but I mean, the model they had was pretty much, was 2 bedrooms, the kitchen and the dining room. I mean, it was just handling. I'm not sure if it could do both. That's a good question.
no, I don't, I didn't know if, okay, yeah, it's a question to ask it, but
Yeah.
I probably want an independent anyway. Independent. So
you what?
I'd probably want 2 different.
Oh, independent ones?
Just,
Yeah.
They're pricey.
Yeah.
oh, are
Yeah. I mean, they're worth it. They're good value for what you get, but they're not de minimis.
they?
How expensive are they?
I'm thinking the better part of $1,000. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I know when you're dealing with a house, that seems like nothing. But when
Heads up.
the original ones that came out were, air heat exchangers came out at $800 and stuff. Actually, now that I think of it, I wouldn't be surprised if it's $2,000.
$2,000 closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah. So that's anyway. That's how I would try to look at your plan again and play with it.
I'm going to do a little, Gio and I are going to do a little serve research for next class because this is a really, it's not spanking new technology, but it's the latest development in a technology that's been around for about 20 or 30 years. So air-to-air heat exchangers have been around literally since the 80s. But they've gotten better and better, and they've become better and better for more extreme climates, very hot, very cold, very humid, very dry. And they have started to actually take over a lot of the role of the HVAC system, so that some of the cooling and whatnot is handled by these more and more sophisticated air-to-air heat exchangers. Serve is, to our knowledge, I think the best one that's out now, and that's why Peter was so excited about it. So I think we should do a little more.
What does the serve stand for? Is that a manufacturer or?
No, well, it's
There's an acronym?
yeah,
Isn't it centralized energy recovery ventilation?
yeah, that's exactly it.
Anyway, it bears a little bit of reporting on our part because
We'll do that.
That, it was fascinating. I'd love to hear on that.
We'll do that. We'll get you more for that.
I have a question. Do you think in our climate zone, Saratoga, and I think about the same as you are in Saratoga, or in Vermont, would the serve be adequate cooling by itself in the summertime?
it depends on, it's a personal thing, but it certainly does do dehumidification, and you could make an argument for it. In a super insulated house like you're contemplating, you could make a good argument for it.
I mean, one of the price compromises I've thought about, and complexity compromises, is possibly not having a air-to-air heat pump, air heat pump, and just having a couple of electric baseboard heaters in a well-insulated house like I'm talking about, and then use the serve to complement it both winter and summer.
That's I don't know about you, Gio. I wouldn't necessarily sanction that without talking to the people who manufacture serve. You might be asking way too much, or not. But I mean, it's definitely out on the margin as far as how you go.
I'm just trying to remember. They didn't have any kind of baseboard heat on their model at Vermont.
No.
All they had was the serve, and they had the mini splits.
Heat pump.
Heat pump, yeah. And that's what they used for cooling, and that's what they used for heating.
And if you're looking, Mark, if you're looking for an all-electric house, I think the number I heard was that a heat pump uses the same amount of electricity 40% more efficiently than a resistive heat, like a baseboard heater. Yeah. So clearly, any baseboard heater is not a good idea.
Yeah.
You want, it's a wasteful way to use electricity.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of stretching or reducing the size of your heat pump by using a serve might be something worth exploring. I think
we'll look into this for you, and we'll have more reading material for you and more information for you next time.
But in order for there to be a next time, we need to wrap up this time.
Right. So let's wrap it up.
I was hoping you'd say that.
How can I miss you if you don't leave?
That's right. So guys, have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
And, do more work. And if you have a problem, Ron, call us.
I'm going to reach out right now. Reach out.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. This is great. This is really good to see you all again.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
How do I leave? Oh, here.